Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about the product transition channel of the QCS performance service. Apart from this channel, there are three more channels. Those are VPA, sensor stability and control utilization. A separate video is being made for them. So agenda for this session is like I'll be explaining on about the solution of product transition, what are the objectives, how it's been implemented, what are the benefits of this product transition channel, and then we'll be having live demo of 10 minutes where I'll be navigating through the dashboards. Then we'll see how we can create the track rules and alerts, how we can generate the reports and how those are beneficial when we compare the data and when we investigate the KPIs over there. So this is the picture which presents why the ability solutions and why the analytical engine is required in nowadays. So in the past, less data was available to be analyzed. Take the first example here. If there is an issue among 8 units, you can find it relatively quickly and in the manual way because finding an issue among 8 is quite easy. But when we have a thousand of data points like what we have in the present situation, we have a plenty of data and finding a problem in one of the data or one of the instrument is quite difficult. For that we need an analytical engine which can process all type of information and can show us where the data lies, so to shorten our range of troubleshooting. So with our performance channel continuously scan all data points to more easily find the needle in the haystack and solve the problem in a faster way. You can consider this conical filter as an analytical engine where all type of raw data information available with us has been fed and the output is only the actionable data. So when we have a system where we have a plenty of data to be analyzed, where we no need to look on all of the data, we can only look the data which needs an action, which gives an output and which through which we can increase the productivity or some of the data which needs an attention. So those are can be prioritized and some corrective actions can be taken. Before jumping on the channels, let's see what is the service port and how it helps and how it's been configured. So ABB Service Port is a secure remote enabled service delivery platform that allows users to view, scan and track the KPIs and it ensures maximum performance of equipment and process. It has the key functionalities like view where you can see the raw data which is being captured during the grade change or during the standardized based on the channel. It has the scan view where we have the KPIs, we have the event views. It has the track view where we can configure the track rules, proactive alerts we can configure and we can see how many times those have been triggered and what are the benefit of those. Then predictive alerts where we will create some alerts and those alerts can be sent to the mailbox. A reporting tool, a final one is the reporting one where we'll generate a report where we will add some type of observations and recommendation which can be submitted to the customer. So this service port generates those report as well with inbuilt data. So ABB QCS performance service channel is accessed through the ABB service port. It's a service delivery platform that conveniently deployed at the customer location. We can view and operate the channel through a web-based window that is easily accessible by the team members what we choose. With the ABB QCS performance service channel, we get the advantage of continuously monitoring and data analysis to greatly reduce the time and effort needed to identify the issue with the transition or control utilization or the sensor stability, the configure range if those are falling above the threshold. This data is classified based on our specific KPIs to provide a list of problematic items that are then prioritized based on the severity, process area, and criticality. This analysis lead to more informed, more responsive decision making by our team, resulting in better performance and the utilization. So this is why we need process performance improvement digital service. So what is the need? The digital technology accelerate the service delivery. So in the traditional service, what we have is we can ensure the availability of the system. We can avoid plant downtime or plant disturbances. We can control the cost for the shorter duration. With the process improvement services like fingerprint, we can increase the reliability, we can improve process performance, and we can reduce quality variances and productive improvement. But with digital, with the present situation where we have a lot of data to be analyzed, we can analyze the data quickly, we can capture the data very fast, and we can improve the performance continuously on the long-term basis. So why we have a QCS in our machine? So QCS in today's production environment, paper makers depend on the quality control system. This equipment is for the daily operation of their paper machine. It maximizes the production throughput and the quality. The QCS must also be performing at the peak efficiency when control loops are not tuned or left in manual, or when they are taking more time to make on spec paper. The benefit of modern control technology is not working optimally for the paper maker. So if a sensor maintenance issues goes undetected, this may cause unscheduled downtime and loss of production. So with this QCS performance service, this address the issue by continuously analyzing the control utilization, sensor stability, real variability, product transition to improve the QCS performance, resulting in better production at lower cost to a paper maker. So in today's environment, as we know, we can't even make a quality paper without a QCS system, and we can't afford to have the system not working 100% of the time. So this ensures is why this digital service ensures us for that we are making an on spec paper. We have improved sensor stability. We can do the optimized controls utilization which are in manual or which are not properly utilized. We can reduce the process variability by analyzing the real report. We can ensure a smooth product transition by analyzing the grade change or manual grade change, which will happen a day or maybe a week time in a paper machines. The key benefits of the QCS performance channels, which include sensor stability, control process, and product transitions. It improves the production uptime by optimizing the QCS performance. It accelerates the problem solving for sensor stability, control, and all the channels which is related with the QCS performance service. It saves times and money with automatic grouping and quick analysis of production quality data by grade. It identifies the opportunities to improve the measurement and control performance. It fills the gap, basically what we have observed. It reduces the response time and travel expenses because it can be accessed through the remote. So it definitely reduces the response time and travel, and it can be accessed globally based on the assigned engineer. Expert across the globes can access it. It helps a lot while we have to troubleshoot any of the problem which occur in the paper machine. It increase the product availability. It process speeds and product quality will get increased with this. So now I'll start the QCS transition channel benefits and its key features. So QCS transition performance service collects data from the paper machine. It's the data is like transition time, sheet break, weight, motion, and speed. It can be like additional DCS, QCS control loop parameters, and it calculates the key performance indicator that measures times and condition, and it analyzes them on the threshold what we have make it when we config create a config file. It optimizes the transition time. It reduces the product waste during the transition. When the product is off spec, it reduces the off spec time of the paper. So we will get the on grade quality very soon. So these are the some of the customer challenge when they do a grade change. They report a problem that sometime when they do a change, they will have a slow grade changes. It takes time to get the on spec paper. They also report some type of issues like a sheet break during the grade change. So restrict them to use the automatic grade change, or it takes more time to get the paper back on the reel. There is no historical data of the previous performance, like when the previous grade change has been done. They don't know what is the transition time and which control loop there is a more time has been taken to get the on spec paper. And they have also a concern that grade change task more of the operator dependent. Product transition is a KPI scan that can be addressed by mail or ABB service people to optimize the transition time, resulting in higher production. Some of the best benefits of this product transition is continuously analyzes the data for faster optimization. It saves the cost through remote diagnostic. It helps identify the problem in a faster way. It reduces the project rejects because when we have a paper on spec paper very fast, definitely our rejects are going to get reduced. More efficient transitions. We can compare the multiple transitions time to time, and we can get the best transition. How can we achieve it? It decreases the disturbances in the paper process. It helps to have a quicker grade changes. As we can analyze the grade changes, we can also reduces the sheet break. We can pinpoint where the problem is. With this, we can make sure that system is highly available, and we can have a consistent quality of the paper. So this is the data view of the transition channel, where you can see this is the history of the transition which has been occurred, and it logs all type of transition like automatic grade change and the manual grade changes. Here it shows the controller, what type of controllers is been configured here. So you can like decouple it if you want to monitor only some basic controllers. If you want to have all controllers, you can configure all controllers. Here we have a KPI history, KPI of the selected grade. This grade shows the excessive transition time and all the related KPIs here. It also displays the transition summary of the complete grade change. It also shows the detail of the selected controller, like when it's been started and when it's been stopped, what are the start and stop value. And here we can have a raw data trend where we can see how the automatic grade change perform, how the measure value and the set points are corresponds, what is the when it's been covered in the on spec, when it's been on the off spec, how it's been ramping up. And even we can compare the different controllers as well over here. This is the view of multi grade changes, like we can compare 2 or 3 grade changes if you want to have it. If you want to have a comparison between the last grade change and the current grade change, and we want to see what is the improvement and due to which the things are not working properly, then we can do it using this multi-grade change view. We can even select multiple controllers over there, and if you want to compare like sizer basis weight and machine speed for these 2 3 types of grade, then we can do it over here. Here it will give the details of the KPI details and the transition summary of each grade which is selected. Even with the trends, we can also view what type of data we need to get it, like machine speed. If it is not stable for particular grade and it's stable for another grade, we can identify, okay, due to machine speed, it has taken a lot time. Whether there is a sizer deviation or moisture deviation in the reel, or the weight deviation, that also can be identified with the multiple grade selections. So this is our KPI view. The event view of the transition channel provides KPI trend summary over selectable time period. ABB QCS transition perform service conducts automatic periodic calculation of KPIs and transition data for analysis to greatly reduce the time and effort needed to identify performance issues. This data is classified based on the specific KPIs to provide a list of potential problems that are then prioritized based on the severity, process area, and criticality. This analysis helps find the root cause of problems and trend performance history more accurately, leading to information that can be acted upon by the customer or the ABB service people to the speed transition times. So the KPIs what we analyze here is like the excessive transition time, sheet break, weight ramp rate, weight deviation, moisture deviation, and steep speed ramp rate. This we can see in more detail when we go to the live demo. So this bar chart was created externally from the service support channel, like we can extract the data for some type of documents. This is like one customer data where the grade change tuning has been performed during the month of July. And before that, the data has been logged and it's been observed that the 30.8 minute was the average time which was taken during a grade change. But after the implementation phase, it's been reduced. So 30.8 minutes down to 25.3 minutes. So it has saves almost 6 minutes of the grade change, and it increases the efficiency and on spec paper, due to which the product wastage is reduced. So here the trend on the left is the scan time based view, which is the mostly KPI average of the maximum moisture deviation during the grade change transition. Here, if you see the average grade change maximum size moisture deviation improved from 1.3% down to 1.0 percentage. When the implementation phase has been completed, then we have, after the tuning of the system, we have seen a steep deviation in the moisture control, which indicates that moisture deviation improved by 0.3%, and due to which a transition time has been reduced and we get the on spec paper very soon. The plot on the right compares the 2 separate grade change, in which the improvement in the moisture response during the grade change can be easily seen before and after. If you see, there is a significant improvement in the moisture change. Grade change on the left and right are comparable in the sheet width change top plot, but the moisture deviation from target gray plot line is the target. It's much less faster after grade change improvement as shown in the trend on the right. So basically what is trying to say here is like the moisture deviation, if you see, and the weight deviation, if you see, when we improve the moisture deviation, the weight what we get it on target is very soon. With the implementation, when we corrected the moisture issue, we get the product on spec paper very soon, and it improves the transition time and reduces the reject of the paper. So this is the service port track window where we will create some additional track loads to monitor and analyze the result of each of the key channel. Whenever a rule is violated, this event is recorded in a database on the service port. The rule violation for each channel can be viewed on the corresponding event view. And this rule violation can also be triggered to a mail based on the like immediate action week, or it can be also triggered on the weekly basis or monthly basis for further analysis and further actions. This slide indicates a Pareto view of the track rule, where if you see a big building here, it indicates that this rule is been violated by 44 times. This is one of the beautiful feature of the service port, where we configure a track rule for the monitor. We can continuously monitor during a significant date ranges that this rule is being violated 44 times, and it's been like assigned as a high priority and it needs an immediate action. So the action can be taken and action plan can be made before a severe condition has achieved. If you see, there are like some other track rules also been triggered like 4 or 5 times. This also can be put on the low priority as an action plan, and this can be considered as a high priority because during every grade change or some of the time during every standardize or whatever the channel is been monitored, it's been triggered. So this need an high attention over this period. This is the track summary. This track summary is completely based on the track rules what we configure. So if we have configured more track rules, and when those track rules has been violated or crossed the threshold, so this dashboards will give us the indications. So if we have some track rules card with the high priority, medium priority, and low priority, so accordingly these dashboards keep on populating. Here the one indicates that the one rule has been triggered 1 time, and the medium priority rule has been triggered 4 times, and one control loop harmony is the similar way we can configure for the transition. It indicates the benefit, like we can prioritize our requirement, we can have a action plan to do it. This track screen shows all trends being monitored and allows user to choose specific trends to analyze further if for instance a trend appears to be outside desired operating parameters. This is a log view. It's available for a more filtered and detailed look at a rule violation that have been previously detected. It can be sorted based on the requirement. We can even select based on the priority. We can uncheck it. If we want to monitor only for the high one, we can just monitor for the high one. Even we can filter it using the rule. It has all the events which has been triggered. We can just select the date range. We can look it for the year, for the month, how many times a log has been triggered, and what was the time during what grade change it has happened. So all details can be seen on this view. This one of them email template, like when the rule is been violated and the email notification is been configured, the email is been triggered to the ABB representative or the customer. So when you configure a limit and it crosses a threshold, you have a data that the last grade change has happened and it has the moisture deviation is more and the void deviation is more, so product is going to get rejected. So it needs some type of tuning to get it fixed, or some process disturbance has to fix it. So this type of action can be well planned and you will be get alerted. So you will be ready when you visit to the paper machine what action need to be taken. This figure represents the overall transition performance. The value of each horizontal bar here identifies the average KPI for each diagnostic area. KPI values of 0 here indicates that good performance, and values greater than 0 indicates an issue that needs to be investigated. The KPI is limited to 100 and values near 100 indicates an issue that is higher in severity. So report provides some kind of feedback with a greatly expanded data set, which increases the ability to identify the problems. System can generate their own reports. Just we need to enter the limits and what type of grade change we want to show them. If we are going for some particular daytime duration, then we can show how many grade changes happen and what is the performance. We can add our own recommendation, observation, and it is very handy for the customer to have a look at this type of reports to take a further actions. So how the QCS transition channel is configured. This transition channel works with the third-party systems. Also, if we have a third-party QCS, then still we can configure this transition channel. So when we visit to a customer side, we will connect a DL400 and we will get the OPC connectivity. So the limitation for this is like we should have an OPC connectivity to third-party QCS. If it is an ABB QCS, then definitely it will work fine. Once the communication is established, then we will create a tag list For ABB specific, we have a ABB specific tag list, so it's easy. But if we have a third party QCS, then the tag lists are almost same. Like we will consider a tag of like manual grade change, auto grade change. We will fetch the data of the weight, moisture, speed, and everything. Then we create a logger sessions where it will keep on logging the data. Then we'll wait for a one manual or auto grade change. So once we have a manual or auto grade change, we will have a files in the folders. So we'll verify that file, whether that file has been collected properly. And with using those files, we will create a config.file where we will set up some limits or the threshold based. So once those limits has been set up, then we will config we will create a final config file. And once the config file is created, we will create a task scheduler. So task scheduler will keep on scanning the folders and look for the data whether it's there or not. Once the grade change is performed and the data file will be available automatically in the folders, then task scheduler says, okay, the grade change is there and we got the data. This task scheduler publish that data on the service port. So channel operation is getting validated. We'll have a complete analyze reports on the service port dashboards. So even we can set up some rules and alerts. We can do it in the later stage also once we have some great changes based on the requirement, or we have some preconditions like some of the things are being monitored by the customer. Then this track rules or alerts can be created on time during the installation of transition channel. So how it's been delivered at site. So Ability Platform Service is a remote enabled service delivery platform that provides a custom secure connection at ABB service and experts. It is deployed at the customer location with a connectivity via OPC to the QCS server or any other third-party system. ABB application servers enable delivery of local and remote services and provides both customer and ABB service experts a real-time view of the KPIs as well as diagnostic and QCS data. Data collected here is highly secure as it remains on site and requires the user authentication to view across the firewall. It can only be accessed via the user authentication and it's only limited to the customer. But if they allows it to be seen by the global expert, then they can give the access and it can be seen by the port service experts or the required across the globe. Performance optimization for QCS service can be applied to any ABB QCS with OPC connectivity. These views are associated with the analytics and KPIs, and these are now made available for reuse in the external applications. The service connection platform now makes use of these channels for expanded access notification and usage. Now let's have a view on the how the demo is been look like. So this is the first page when we open the service port explorer. Here you can see all the channels has been shown over here. Here we have a control, sensor stability, transition, VP channel from the QCS part. If you want to have all 4 channels, then you no need to buy for the different machines. It can be configured on the single hardware. And even you can configure the multiple paper machines for each channel. If you have 5 paper machines in your mill, then you can have a single hardware which can fetch the data via OPC, and you can have 5 paper machines view over there and you can analyze them very easily. Let's see how the data view look like. So this is the data view where I have explained you on the presentation. Then this is the history of the great changes which has been happened recently. It has the timestamp which helps us to identify when the grade change has been done. In the bottom side, we can see the controllers which has been configured for this grade changes. This machine is being configured for this many controllers, and we can opt it out and we can minimize it based on our requirement. It also accesses the active product code, grade change, the triggers, manual grade change trigger, on grade triggers, and sheet break also if you want to compare it on the trend. Here is the KPI summary of the selected grade code. If you see, these are the total KPIs what we are monitoring here. Excessive transition time. If you mouse over there, then you can see the tooltip where it shows the KPI value is 100 and the parameter value 66.17. And then if you select another grade code, yeah, here you see the KPI value is 100 and parameter value is 64.9. So KPI has been ranged from 0 to 100. 100 indicates that it's needs high attention and 0 means it's under control. So based on that, you can take an action. The excessive transition time is 100 and the limited it's a coordinated speed due to which This is the limiting controller due to which we have taken a more time. It has taken more time to achieve the speed. And so it needs a tuning or some other type of optimized service due to which we can reduce the time. It has a total transition summary where it indicates the start time, stop time, and off-spec delay duration. It also indicates the transition duration and the limiting level to controller as well. It also gives the KPI summary of the selected controller. Like if we have selected here the coordinated speed, it indicates when the speed change has been started, what is the start value of the speed, and what is the steady state value of the speed. We can even compare two of the controllers or three of the controllers based on the requirement if we want to monitor the data. Even it has the advantage of selection of multiple grade changes, like you can select the multiple grade changes, and if you want to compare the performance with the successive grade change, you can compare, and you can also come to know due to which controller or due to which parameter this grade change has taken more time due to the previous one, maybe the less time due to the previous one. So you can pinpoint on that and you can take a corrective action. You can even copy this data and can copy into the Excel, and you can generate your own type of some data analysis if you want to do it. Then we'll go to the scan event view. Here in the scan event view, the aggregated results are having an option of weekly, monthly, and quarterly. We can select any type of options if you want to monitor. Then the transition type is like automatic transition and manual transition. In this, there is no manual transition has been performed, so it's not showing here, but you can select between the all transition, automatic, and the manual one. This trend summary indicates the period which has been selected over here, and it's been like the weekly points. If you select here, so the no transition has been performed during this time, so it's been showing is 0. But if you select on October 25th, then one transition has been performed here. Accordingly, you can just mouse over and can see all this type of stuff. So here, so one transition has been performed. Even you can go to the monthly view and see. So 3 transition has been performed during this month, and these are the data which has been captured over here. So average severity indicates that 49% for these transitions. So once we come down here, we can see 3 types of category over here. It's like for the grade change, it's a transition issues which has been captured, a weight control issues, and moisture control issues. So transition issues contain the excessive transition time, machine speed, and sheet break. So if any sheet break happen during the transition, then this KPI will go to the 100. If there is no sheet break, then it's a 0. So it triggers between 0 to 100. There cannot be any other value. It also monitors the weight control issues, like if identifies, like if you select any of the transition, then it identifies the this transition is having a weight control issue and the KPI value is 98. This one is 78 and 38. So based on that, you can see, or you can also compare why this has been 98 and why this has been 78. What has been changed during these two grade changes. This also helps in analyzing the problem. And even you can also see the excessive transition time. This two transition time has been like 100 and this has been 20. So based on that, you can take more attention on this, and then you can jump to this one and it will take you back to the data view. And then you can come to know, okay, the limiting control is the controller speed. So it has taken more time due to which the transition time is like more than the configured range. And you can just retune the controller speed and can see the performance, how it looks like. Similarly, in the case of moisture control issues, when you select it, you can have a list of complete grade changes, which is having a non-zero value. It will show over here. 2 or 3 is like quite low as compared to 0. It's close to 0, so it doesn't need any attention over here. Again, we have a time-based view where we will have a trend over throughout the year, or throughout the range what we select over here. So once we go to the level 1, then we can select what type of transition we want. This basically helps when we want to monitor a long-term data, like when we have a, like if you have monitor the data of March, April, and May, and we see that the transition time is keep on rising. And when we do some type of optimization in between, and then we observe the situation that that transition time is getting reduced, or the deviation is getting reduced, or the size or moisture deviation is getting reduced. So it helps in identify whether we are going in the correct way or we are going the wrong way. So based on that, we can take some further actions. Another one is the track view. Before going to event view, let's have a look on the configuration view. So in the track configuration view, we can configure some type of track rules. As you can see, we have here 4 track rules has been configured. So these track rules are helps us to send us the proactive alerts, and based on that we can take some proactive actions. So just for an example, we will configure a track rule like sizer moisture deviation is more than 0.5%. So you can just put investigate the loop and perform retuning. You can set the priority, like I'm going to set a priority of high over here. Then we will select a condition, rate of change. Then we will select, okay, let's no aggregate. Then automatic transition. If you want to monitor, here you can see it's a great change. It can be like a shade change if we have a, in case of color. So we can configure color also here. So for the moisture deviation, we'll just go to the moisture control issue. We'll select the KPI over here, sizer moisture deviation, and then we see, okay, so this is the one. So we can configure like 0.5 percentage. Sorry. So in this case, we can have a like it's been captured as a value. So we will configure as a 5 over here. So if the deviation is like more than 5, so you can just 5, and then you can create and you can even test it. Once you test it, like it triggers some of the times, means that this KPI is getting triggered, and this some of the times this is not been triggered. So this is like below 5. And with this, you can validate whether the rule is working properly. Even you can create one more condition over here, like you can add one more condition, like value increased, maybe weekly you select, or whatever you want to do. Select product group grade change, so like a sheet break if you want to add, so we can add in the transition issues. So once this value increases above 0, as I told you earlier, that sheet break is monitored only 0 to 100. When a sheet break happens, it goes to 0, and when it is not, it is 0. So you can create here as a sheet break alert. So when this two rules has been triggered, as you can see, there is an end operation. So when these two both are true, then only this rule will be triggered. So but if you want to change any one rule, then just put any, and any one of the rule will trigger, then you will get the alert. We can just save it, and once we save it, we can get it here, the rule what we have configured. You can even deactivate it if you want to do it for, if you want to monitor it for a shorter time, like for some of the great changes, then you can deactivate it once your purpose is solved. You can reconfigure it if you want to change the limits later on. You can see how many times the rule has been triggered. If it's been triggered 2, 3, 4, 5 times, if you click it here, it will directly take you to the log view. So you can see the log view. You do not need to add any filter and all. Even you can delete it if it's not no more used, then you can just delete it from the list. Then once we have configured the track rule, then we'll just, after some time when the rule has been triggered, we'll go to the event view. Here event view will give you the summary, what type of rule has been triggered during the selected time period. Like we have selected a period of 1 month. So during the 1 month, this rule has been triggered based on the aggregated result. This has been triggered one time, and this low priority rule has been triggered one time. That's why this percentage is 50-50%. If this rule has been triggered 2 times and this has been 1 time, then the percentage stays to 66 and 33. We can take our decision whether we have to address this issue on priority, or whether we have to address this issue on priority. Or if the rule is triggering more, like if it's been triggered 10, 20, or 30 times, then we can see, okay, every great transition it's been happening. So this has to be addressed on the higher priority, and we have to investigate what need to be done, what recommended action need to be done. And even if you go to the like 3 weeks, then you have a trend summary. Here you can say that the blue line is for the low one, red line is for the higher one, and the yellow line is for the medium one. So you can select the points over here just to see, and it will jump to the data what we want. Like if you go to the quarterly view, like then we go here, and the data changes accordingly. And when we go here, the data changes accordingly. This is the event view. And then we have a log view. So log view is having the log of the rules which has been triggered every time. This we can see the list here. Even we can filter it like based on the priority. If you want to monitor only the high, medium, high priority rules, then it shows a list of high priority. Even we can increase the range. time range. If you want to see how many times the rule has been triggered, so it has added one more. So based on this, we can also filter it and we have a clear idea when this rule has been triggered and what is the priority and what time and date has been triggered. So this keep a records for the configure period. We can have for more than a year, we can keep the log over here. Then we have the parity view. Parity view indicates which rule has been triggered more. So you see this transition time KPI is greater than 70 has been triggered 3 times during this period. And this rule with a higher priority has been triggered more 1 time. So based on that, we can decide which rule which has to be prioritized, which action need to be taken and when to be taken. If you see this has been triggered 3 times and we have a 3 grade changes, then this rule is triggering always, and it has to be prioritized and has to be fixed on priority. It can happen that these two rules can be interrelated, due to which this can be happening. Then we can just fix it this one and can see whether this is getting improved or not. So if we have multiple rules configured, then we can have multiple buildings over there, and multiple triggers has been happened. Based on that the triggers, we can see which rules has to be addressed on the priority. Then the last one is the report configuration view. If you here the report configuration view is like you can select the period, like if you visit to the customer site to address some of the issue regarding the grade change, then you can just put the date of your visit and then you can select the customer name. You can also select which grade change report you want to submit. There is no need if you want to have all grade changes, just maybe you have taken a 1 or 2 grade changes for the trial purpose, just you put 1 or 2 grade changes here. And even no need to put all of the transitions issue. If you see that some of the transition issue is just of no use, then you can just uncheck it. So it helps to shorten the report, and it also helps to pinpoint the customer pain. So customer can see directly which issues they have to be more aware of, and no need to go to the long reports and it bothers them to read them all. This helps. Once we generate the report, we just define the destination, then save it. It start generating the reports. When the report is generated, we can open it and we can add our own recommendation and the observation, and then it's ready to submit at the customer location. So the next part is like track event manager. So this track event manager can be directly open from the tools. Once you select the track event manager, this window will get open. So as you can see, this shows a view of the track rules for all of the channels configured. Here we are now talking about the QCS transition channel. We'll have a look on the QCS transition. Here you can see all the track events which has been triggered with the trigger date and the status. And if we have any comments, even you can just filter it out using this one. You can just select the one with the transition. If you are more focused about the transition, even we can set the priority. Let's select a high over here. And then we have a complete list of the transition loops with a high priority. And even we can select this rule. And then if you want to subscribe it or we want to add any comment, then we can add. Then we can select false positive, no action needed or resolved. And then based on that, the comment will be added over here, then resolved, retuned loop. So once it's been done, it's been the status has been changed to resolved here. And then again we can go to the here over here even, or we can go to the home just for a change. Let's see. Then if you want to see all of the track rules, all of the triggers which has been triggered from the QCS transition, just select over here. Then if you want to subscribe for them for alert over mail, then just select the particular rule, then click subscribe. Then you have to subscribe the frequency you want, the immediate alert or you want hourly alert or daily or weekly alert. Once you select, then you can just add the email, then select the receive comment and notifications and just press subscribe. Once you've done the subscribe, you will get the alerts on your email. Definitely you have to do some settings over there for the SMTP, which can be done on the track settings. You can put some server address, notification, email address and all. Once you this SMTP settings, you are good to go with the alerts. This also have the feature of importing the rules and exporting the rules. If you want to export these rules, you can even export them to a CSV file. Even you can import this rule from a CSV file if you have. This is with the rated with the QCS transition channel. If you have any queries regarding to the transition channel or the service port regarding to the QCS performance, you can always ping me or can contact me on the email ID. Thanks for attending.